Hello gamers, it's Nyce, and I hope all you Serenity enjoyers are having a nice day. Today, I am very excited to give you an update to the Serenity Heavy Armor build for Season 4. I've been getting a lot of questions, a lot of Discord messages and everything like that to finally provide an update for this build. And I apologize, I hope you enjoyed the opening clip, but I've just been wanting to test every and any possible thing, a lot of traits. It's been very expensive, very time consuming, but I didn't want to just put out an update without pretty much testing everything and providing you guys the best min-max builds. I always share everything that I do, and I want to do that again. We will have a lot of gameplay examples at the end of this video, but I'll try to keep it shorter than the last iteration, but I think a lot of you like seeing more gameplay examples. So with that out the way, let's go ahead and go over everything. So let's start with the main focus of the build. That is the Serenity Greatsword artifact. You get this from your PvP tracks. We did test the attunement, but the rune glass is obviously a lot better. I used to go opal, but I think what you want this patch is the Retaliate gem. Now this gem, the Jasper gem, received a change, and I would say a buff. Now it comes with stacks, which is very interesting, and each stack is 8% damage for 5 seconds. And you can get up to 3 stacks, so a total of 24% damage. The way you get these stacks is by blocking or taking a hit, and you know we do a lot of blocking with the Greatsword bar, and of course on our Sword and Shield bar. More on that later, but this weapon is just amazing. It comes with Trenchant Strikes and Trenchant Crits, which is an illegal perk combination, doubling down on that heavy attack damage. It also comes with Refreshing Move, meaning that our heavy attacks and light attacks are going to reduce our active cooldowns, which is really cool. Just to kind of jump ahead here, apparently in Season 5, there is going to be a heavy attack gauntlet that's going to increase the damage of your heavy attacks. So with that being said, I'm pretty sure they're going to probably try to nerf Serenity in some way. That's just me predicting ahead, but we'll see. They mentioned it briefly in the recent dev discussion, but let's move forward. That's our Greatsword bar. Let's get into the Jackalope Antler. I am still using this. I still think this is the best for our build. There are swords that you can go for that'll make you even more tanky, but I think this is the best one. If you're using the Gap Closer, which I highly recommend, if you don't want those runners to get away, if you want to keep the pressure on your opponent, you definitely want to go with this. This comes from Genesis, and you can remake this at the Gypsum Kiln. It comes with Keen Speed and Empowering Leap and Strike by default, and you can add whatever perk you want. I highly highly recommend Sure Footing. I can't tell you guys how much times that this has saved me, whether in duels or just 1vx. I really like this Sure Footing perk. Let's talk about why I like this sword. So Keen Speed, gain 20% haste for 7 seconds on crit, and I'll jump ahead to the sword and shield bar briefly just to show you this passive. Gain 20% haste for 5 seconds on crit. That pairs very well. Our Sure Footing also gives us a movement speed while we're holding block for 30% movement speed while blocking. This pairs very well with another passive in the Sword and Shield tree for mobility, 33% more faster while blocking. That's why I really love this, and I think it has very good synergy and keeps us very mobile. We have other sources of mobility, which I'd like to go ahead and go over that too. That is via the Accelerated Resolve perk. This is very, very amazing. 35% movement speed when it's on the shield, which is insane. You guys have seen me post a lot of clips. If you want to see more, I recommend checking out my heavy armor guide. There is some clips of this build inside of that video. So 35% more movement speed, but we're also going to increase our incoming healing by 14% for 6 seconds. So this is a good time to pop your potions. Really recommend, and also obviously your lifesteal should be boosted during this as well. The shield I went with also comes with shield defense, sturdy energy, and sturdy. Now you can have sturdy energy on the body, that way you can actually proc sturdy energy with your greatsword. I found that it's better to go ahead and just have that on the shield so you get another armor perk, which is more valuable, but you can do it either way. It's really up to you, but yeah. And if you do decide to do that, if you don't do sturdy energy on the shield, what you want to put here is sturdy fortification. In PvP, if you block a hit, you get 5% more fortified, which is pretty cool and pairs well with another perk inside the Sword and Shield tree. Now let's go over the jewelry. I am not doing any jewelry artifacts. That's right, I don't like any of them. I think they just make your build less optimal, and you can't guarantee the best in slot perks. Ankh is pretty cool if you're running shirking heals, I guess. Maybe some sources of self-healing or proc healing, like the heal from Entomb or things like that. Ideally, I don't want Ankh. We have so much lifesteal on the greatsword, and we have leeching, that I think it's just not a good decision, nor is it a good artifact unless you're in wars, or obviously if you're running with the group or with the healer. Then obviously you would want to put on Ankh. I think that's the scenario where you'd want that, and here's a comparison. So I basically just went and got a necklace with the same perks minus the negatives of Ankh. If you didn't see that, there was a change where our self-healing is, you see there, consumables, lifesteal, and outgoing heals. So you don't want your lifesteal to be reduced by 25% for sure. So that's what we did. The Tangle Vine is obviously a named item that you can upgrade at the Gypsum Kiln. And another good thing about this is we don't have too much magnifier on our build, so we can get the stats that we want. I went with thrust protection. Feel free to go with fire protection. Thrust protection is just a little bit more efficient to do the way the gems work out. But yeah, divine, health, thrust protection. For the ring, Privateer's Heirloom. This comes with strength on it. You can make this at the Gypsum Kiln as well. Leeching, slash damage, hardy, best in slot. Wouldn't change a thing about it. Very good. And as always, our best in slot earring, Healthy Toast, which means we're gonna get another heal just from drinking our mana potion. I like doing this especially with Accelerated Resolve up and then regenerating. The star of this, and you guys seen it in a lot of my videos, and I'll try to have some of them linked at the end. Healing Heart is something that I swear by. As soon as this patch started and I was able to get my hands on one of these, I instantly saw satisfaction from this. You pop Accelerated Resolve and go into our ultimate. We're going to heal for 10% of our max health, and popping this before Stone Form is just beautiful. Well, excuse me, popping Accelerate Resolve before Stone Form is just amazing, because Stone Form has a hot itself, so it just feels really good. It's a full reset. I'm sure you guys have seen me do that full reset from like 20% health to 100% health just from hitting Accelerate Resolve into Mending Form, and then, you know, pop a potion or two, and then you're just back to, it's just starting over. You're just full reset, and it's just really amazing and helps with our survivability. I've been actually accused, a lot of you have probably seen it on stream, but I've been accused of having 300 con or being like a pure tank, which is just not the case. Let's go over the gear. So I have basically got my best in slot. I went through all of last season without best in slot gear. I just never got lucky. This time around, I did guarantee a lot of my perks. So we have this, which is best in slot. Before I go over each piece of gear, I want to say my perk priority, in my opinion, is elemental aversion, and then I try to get health, and then you want a weapon perk. The thing about this build is you want all the weapon perks from the greatsword. They're all very good, such as this one, energizing counter. If you don't want to do health, or if you can't find one with health as a third trait, do not stress it. I think rolling with a couple of thrust conditionings or flame conditionings especially is very, very good in this meta. So don't stress health. I do like I don't know, 1 or 2 pieces, but if you find a piece with aversion and a conditioning, that is really, really good, and I highly recommend it. Don't stress health too much. It's not that big of a deal as far as what it does for your overall max health. You see, I'm at 18k with this gear specifically, but I wouldn't mind adding a couple of conditionings if I run across them, just to deal with range DPS especially, even though it works for both. I just think that's a good way to play, but don't stress too much about getting this exact gear. But anyways, elemental aversion, energizing counter health. Energizing counter, when we activate our calamity counter, we get 22 stam. This is really, really good. You can actually use energizing counter, which is going to block incoming hits even while you're exhausted. So that combined with this is just really good. So you may notice I am finally not using the freedom artifact. The freedom artifact is something that I swear by. You put this on and you really, especially in heavy armor, you really don't need to run additional freedom, maybe 1 to 2 if you really need to. But I still swear by this. I still think this is really good. This is really good for the build, being that we run a lot of weapon perks. So if we run a lot of weapon perks like this, that's 1 less slot on 3 different gear pieces, because now we got to squeeze in these weapon perks, and now we got to squeeze in freedom. Well, the freedom artifact takes care of that. So now we can run more of whatever perks that we need to run, right? However, I've been testing it this season, and I'm liking Void Dark Plate with 3 out of 4 freedom, and I'll just show you my freedom stacks here. You see it on that gear, just to jump ahead. But Void Dark Plate, this acts as fortify. This isn't going to increase your total armor by 20%. This is going to give you a 20% fortify at all times. So do look at it that way. And I know I didn't detail this because I've gone over it so much, but Serenity gives you stacks of fortify as you take damage, which is really cool. 2% fortify per hit, up to 10 stacks. So I think they synergize very well, especially with how bulky and how much we're blocking. I like having this fortify. It's just a slot and forget kind of thing. It does come with enchanted ward and physical aversion. Feel free to add health or like a flame or thrust conditioning here. Next piece, we have freedom, slowing rupture, and thrust conditioning. I would actually like a couple of thrust and fire conditioning if I could squeeze it in there. But freedom, we are doing 3 out of 4 freedom. With heavy armor, I think 3 out of 4 freedom from my testing is where you kind of want to get to, where you're not getting like ragdolled and you can get control of your character. It feels really good. Like I said, you can do the freedom artifact, but I think having the fortify from Void Dark Plate and then squeezing 3 out of 4 freedom on your build is kind of the best of both worlds. The slowing rupture, you know, you hit them with the rupture and you get 25% of a snare for 5 seconds. This is a skill that we did not use last season, and I will go over that shortly of why I made the change. For our legs, we got freedom, Elia version as always, and then we got our relentless freedom. You guys already know this is our snare removal, and it's really good. It gets rid of our snares and immobilizations, and yeah, I really like it. And for the legs, we got a standard piece here, no weapon perks, freedom, Elia version, and health. I really like that. So that will be it for the gear. I will now go into the skills portion. Now, I would like to go over the sword and shield tree and then the greatsword tree, but first I want to show you 2 things. First off is our attributes. That's going to be 200, 200, 200. This is the best bang for your buck, the most damage you're going to get with greatsword, and pretty much the best benchmarks that you can possibly get with this build. Highly recommend it. I never go away from this. Also, before we talk about the sword and shield tree, I just want to mention the kite shield tech again. Counterattack does still work on both bars. Counterattack on block, gain a 30% empower for 4 seconds. This applies even with your greatsword blocking, so you get even more damage, an insane amount of empower at 30%. People are not aware that a lot of shield perks actually count for both bars. I think the conditionings, refreshing, enchanted ward, all that stuff works on both bars, so highly recommend that. I personally prefer the tower shield. I think that's just going to be the best way to go. But yeah, let's talk about that sword and shield tree. Sword and shield tree, nothing has changed, so I won't spend too much time on this. Shield bash is the best stun in the game. You have enough time to shield bash. Bar swap, dodge behind your opponent, which by the way, dodging on greatsword gives you an empower. Then you can do a fully charged heavy, guaranteed at trenchant strikes and trenchant crits. We talked about the accelerate resolve perk, which gives us speed and healing. Well, it's also going to give us 30% mitigation and more block power. It's going to give us 50% mitigation if we used it preemptively. Be smart about when you use it. Do it before that damage starts chucking you below 0.5% health, because yeah, that extra 20% mitigation is way worth it, and this helps towards your full reset. And then you're going to get this burst heal at the end, and this is really good. It saved me a lot. The accelerate resolve benefit from the perk will have expired before this one goes off, but it's a really good heal and scales off your max health, which is why I think max health, especially for a solo player, is still a good perk versus conditioning. This perk right here is going to help that regeneration on our earring, and of course our default healing overall. The gap closer is amazing. We have empowering leap and strike on our weapon, which gives us a lot of damage boost at 33%. So we do a gap close and then we feed our opponents some light attacks. It's going to hit them hard, and we already went over the speed from this and the movement speed from this. If you do not want the sure footing on the weapon, like I said, you can drop this for the elemental resistances here. Other than that, I wouldn't change anything. If you want to be more pure tank and you don't care about staying on your opponent, or you don't care about runners, feel free to not go with the Jackalope Antler and go with a different sword that you prefer. And then you can get Shield Rush here, which is a really good stagger. It guarantees your Shield Bash. You can go Shield Bash into Shield Rush into Shield Bash, and you can get the Fortifying Shield Rush perk. You could put that on the shield, but I'd probably just put it on the body. It's a good skill. I just think mobility is very important, especially with light rollers. But you know, do as you will. Let's get into the greatsword tree. Now, greatsword, I did switch it up from last patch. This is a really good skill and steadfast strike, but it has a cooldown reduction. It has a nice bleed. It has deceptive range, but it just does not compare with rupture. And here's why I say that now. You get a 10% fortify for this skill, and you get just a little cleanse, and you apply a 10% weaken, which makes you more tanky, you know, between the 10% fortify that we get, which we already have a lot of fortify, and a 10% weaken. But it's really this part here at the end. Additionally, after hitting someone with this AoE, become uninterruptible for 5 seconds. This is insane. This is actually broken. I'm not gonna lie. You can literally eat a shield bash to the face and not get stunned. Even if you're not blocking, just a straight, nothing can like stun or stagger you, I think. And it's actually insane and a very good way to go offensive and not have to worry about anything incoming. You time this right and it's gonna be very rewarding. To kind of go over Defiant Stance versus Onslaught Stance, we have two Defiant Stance abilities and we have one Onslaught ability. While in Defiant Stance, we get a 15% damage reduction, which is insane with our Fortify, but our damage is reduced. This does not matter with Serenity. Also, when we block heavy attacks. I mean, excuse me, we block while heavy attacking, which is actually crazy. Highly recommend that. I love this ultimate passive here. We have 5% lifesteal at all times, which is crazy. 5% of the damage we do, we're going to heal for. Not only that, if we've recently blocked, that's going to be a 15% lifesteal. This pairs with the leeching and all the other sources of healing that we already have. The next skill is Calamity Counter. The more hits you block during this, the better the effect is. It applies a bleed. It will stagger opponents, and we also get a heal. This is just really good. You want to time this well, especially if an opponent is using something that has a lot of animations like Perforate from the Spear or the Vortex from the Flail. Those are really, really easy to counter and time with this. Don't get too thirsty trying to get the 3 blocked hits. If someone's using a slow weapon like the hammer, you can just hit Calamity Counter and then get the block and then instantly reactivate it so that you hit them back. Smart opponents are not going to just sit there and keep hitting you if they know you're in this skill. So sometimes just know that, you know, just getting one hit and then getting the stagger is really good and you get the bleed on them. I take the perks as follows. These are all important. Our heavy attacks are going to give a bleed. It's not a super strong bleed, but it's more alt gen for our heart rune, which is really good. This perk right here is good for blocking ranged attacks. And yeah, I've always said the greatsword is a better blocking weapon than the sword and shield at times. So, and I stand by that. It's actually insane. Here's that passive I was talking about. Just for dodging, you get a 10% empower. We have one onslaught ability, like I mentioned. While in onslaught stance, we get 15% more damage, but we take 15% more damage. So, and also our heavy attacks are faster. You want to be really smart with how long you stay in onslaught stance. Feel free to go into this relentless rush to get into your onslaught stance and dish out a couple of heavies, especially if you're not being pressured, depending on how many opponents are around you. Sometimes you'll see me like relentless rush and then I'll instantly hit roar and rupture to go right back into defiant stance. Really do what you choose. Well, be smart. Read the room with this is what I'm going to say with onslaught stance. There's some times where you can go into this and start building that empower from Serenity, and it just feels really good. But like I said, be very, Very smart. This is a really good skill. We have 2 gap closers on this build. So not only are we really bulky, tanky, got block power, we have 2 gap closers and ways to close the gap on runners and people that's trying to like zone us out. You get empower for hitting this. And also if we use this out of defiant stance, we're going to get a heal for all the damage. This deals very well with the built-in lifesteal we already have, plus the leeching. And I really love this. Another underrated passive is critical comeback. Become energized by landing a critical hit and you regain 5 stam and 5% base health per second for 5 seconds. So I really like this. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Be really smart with your stances. If you're an onslaught stance and you don't have a way, you know you're about to take a lot of damage and you don't have one of these skills to go into to get back into defiant stance, just bar swap and then you'll kind of break even. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the opening clip, and we have some more outnumbered PvP and some arenas and gameplay for you guys. Please like the video. It really helps. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not. This is perhaps my favorite build, and I think it's my... Come here. Oh my gosh! How'd you go from all that to getting X? I'll take that. Oh, he hit the stone farm. Smart guy. Smart guy. Yeah, go ahead and run to your team, maybe. We had our own little fight over there. Nah, let me not take the bait. Look how fast we are. Look how we're back to full. Oh, you thirsty? Now you wanna... Now all of a sudden you know how to walk forward because your teammate's here. That's how you end up in clips, buddy. Oh! Move, baby, move. Got him. Keep him coming, keep him coming, keep him coming. Stack the bodies. Oh, I messed that up. Oh, there's a healer here now. Let's get rid of him. Oh, someone just gave me with the aerial support. Oh, let's go. Holy crap. Oh, that rain of arrows hit.
Are so close to victory! A desperate last stand!
Clutch, 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 you got it. You got it. I seen you on YouTube, bro. You got it. Yeah, get that motherfucker.
I shall speed up these proceedings!